Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Ricky C. Williams podcast, the number one anger management podcast in the world. I want to say to everyone that comes back week after week after week, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart that you constantly come back to listen, to learn, and to grow. Once again, thank you. And now we're going to discuss this episode, which is about a movie star of one of Quentin Tarantino's movies. Now, it's a very cult classic movie that we're going to discuss. And there's also a brand new movie that's causing a huge buzz in Hollywood, and it's about domestic abuse. So don't skip this one as we explore the details, the broader implications for our society, and what we can do to combat domestic abuse. Let's get started. You're listening to the Ricky C. Williams podcast, where we delve deep into the complex world of anger. And in each episode, we explore what triggers it, how it affects our lives, and most importantly, how we can manage it. So, the actor who I was speaking on is Michael Madsen, known for his roles for Reservoir Dogs. And again, he got arrested in a situation where he actually pushed his wife out the home at 12:15 a.m. on August 17th at his Malibu home. And it happened with his wife. His wife's name is Deanna. And what the reports indicate is that she stated that he pushed her out. So right now it's all alleged. We just can't say this actually happened. Um, but when the deputies responded, it was because of a family disturbance. And that's when they got there, that's when they recognized what happened. And Mr. Madsen got arrested and he bailed out on a $20,000 bail. Now, this was not the first time that Mr. Madsen was in a situation with the police. Also in 2022, he was arrested for misdemeanor trespassing charges. Now, Mr. Madsen's representative stated that the incident was just a disagreement between Mr. and Mrs. Madsen. But here's the thing, right? One of the biggest issues with this is the fact that they do have three children together. Mr. Madsen has children in previous relationships, but he has three with his current wife. Now, the actor of Kill Bill, The Hateful Eight, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, again, got arrested, and this is not a good look for him and his wife nor his children. Again, because of the job that he has, they are under a microscope. And this can affect his children from school or just with their peers. This can affect his job. They are actors who've been blackballed because of domestic abuse allegations. So, what we are going to do is take the time to pray for their family and hopefully get some counseling and some healing is definitely necessary. So, leading to the next part of the story is this movie that's gaining so much traction and criticism, mind you, about domestic violence, and it's called It Ends With Us. And this centers around Lily Bloom, who escapes an abusive relationship with her husband. And the film is just an adaptation of Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel. And a lot of critics state that the movie is it oversimplifies domestic violence and the survivors of domestic abuse, that the character just simply walked away And because I taught anger management for 7 years, I know personally that when survivors try to walk away and leave, they just can't. It's not that simple. And the depiction could harm survivors. And here's why. Because when many survivors try to leave, the abuser, or the villain as I call them, will start stalking them, harassing them, do all sorts of tactics to get them back under their control. And what this movie doesn't speak on is the layers of abuse, right? So it it brings focus to the psychological abuse, right? So the gaslighting, the love bombing. So it was easy for the character to walk away because she had a support system and she was financially independent to do so. However, the survivors who, like I said, who I know personally, did not have the opportunity because people who are under an abusive or in an abusive relationship under the thumb of the villain, as I call that person, they will take advantage. They will beat you. They will hurt you financially. Can even hurt you sexually. So it isn't as easy. They will isolate you from your family. You won't have a strong support system. You won't even have money. You will have to depend on that person. So I don't think the movie depicts that. I'm glad that it opened up a conversation about abuse, domestic abuse. I wish it would go deeper, or someone create a movie about male abuse, which is rarely talked about, but very necessary to speak on. But I think it doesn't speaks on the complexities of abusive relationships. I think it's scratched the surface. I'm glad that it's opened up a conversation. I wish it would have gone more in depth. I wish it would show the jealousy, the possessiveness, and how the abuse sees it as a sign of love. It's something that most people don't talk about. We just think that, oh, this person loves me. Oh, he won't let me go or she won't let me go. They're always in my business. And we think that's love and we think that's cute, but that is a form of emotional or psychological abuse. And then it can escalate to financial abuse, or bills are not paid. It could be financial abuse, where they won't pay for the child support, or it could be a sexual abuse where they force themselves on you. And again, this is both male and female. So I've seen where males did not want to be sexually active with a female, and the female got them drunk and take advantage. That's sexual abuse as well. One thing that we need to talk about within the society is that abuse is not one way. It's not for one gender. It's for both. So I'm glad that it's starting to be talked about because it's necessary. As I tell all the people who I coached, is that don't just look at social media pictures. You don't know what that person is going through. A lot of people smile, but there's so much pain within their relationships. It could be a working relationship, it could be a personal relationship, and it could be a spiritual relationship. And we never ask, how's your spirit? We always talk about, how are you doing? And the common answer is, we're fine. But if you ask about how's your spirit, that has to have a different answer. So I'm glad it sparked the conversation. You may want to go and watch the movie for yourself. I don't want anyone to think that it's easy to leave. I don't want you to judge anybody who stayed in situations where you're just like, well, I just would have walked away. Most people say that, and yet and still it never really happens. So, and you don't know what form of abuse that you may be in. Let's keep the lines open. And this is my very first video. I normally do just regular audios, but I wanted to get the message out about abuse, anger, and everything that's negative so we can heal this society because negativity is selling, death is normalized, anger and abuse is normalized, and we have to do better, both male and female. So, again, it's my first time saying this, but please like, share, and comment on my very first video podcast. I want to say thank you. I don't know if you're washing dishes or at the gym, in your car, wherever you're doing, if you're cooking. I want to say thank you for taking the time out to listen to me. And I wanted to say that it's going to be stories that I talk about, real stories that's happening real time, no theory, actually happened. And this is going to always remind us about the real and urgent need to reform our communities and start with our home first and, reform that. And if you know somebody or if you're going through something, I urge you to please reach out. You can go to rickycwilliams.com/blog. And at the end of the show notes, there'll be a link to where you can get you a private phone call to get the help that you need because it is necessary. So until the next time, I am Ricky Williams, urging you to stay informed and stay engaged. Now, GBG, go be great.